Let's take a look at labels. As mentioned earlier, labels are one of the main communication components of the WHMIS program. There are two types of labels: supplier and workplace. The first and most common is the supplier's label, affixed to the product packaging, usually by the manufacturer or supplier of the product. WHMIS labels are identified by a distinctive broken line border, which is common to products with hazardous materials. One of the first items you will notice on the label is the hazard symbols. These hazard symbols are usually recognizable and will indicate the hazards associated with the product. There are 8 basic hazard symbols. Class A for compressed gas. Examples in construction include propane, acetylene, and oxygen. Any compressed gas cylinder can be a potential bomb, especially if it's in a fire or if the cylinder is blocked. We all recognize the Class B symbol. Flammables come in several forms such as gas vapors, liquids, and solids. On a construction site, this includes most solvent-based materials, gases, and solids such as wood dust and fertilizer. Class C represents oxidizers. Some oxidizers can be very powerful, and others can take several years. An example of oxidizers in construction could include the hypochlorite or chlorine solution for cleaning of cement walls. Remember, some oxidizers such as chlorine or fertilizer cannot be stored or mixed with flammable liquids such as gasoline. This could result in a violent fire or explosion. Class D has 3 subcategories. D1 is immediately serious and very toxic. It is recognized by the skull and crossbones. Paints, solvents, and gasolines are usually in this category. Class D2 is for other toxic effects and is represented by the T with an exclamation point. Hazards in this category can include cancer-causing materials such as asbestos or silica, which can take 15 years and longer to develop scarred lungs or cancers. Class D3 covers biohazardous materials and is not exempt from a construction site and includes molds, bodily waste, and any bloodborne contamination, including viruses and diseases such as West Nile or hepatitis. Workers at a higher risk could include demolition workers, plumbers, or the worker who cleans out the portable washrooms on site. Class E is for corrosive materials. Corrosive materials can be found in batteries in the form of sulfuric acid, and the lime in cement is corrosive when mixed with water. Class F represents dangerously reactive materials. Although not the most common hazard found on a construction site, we do work with at least one dangerously reactive material, and that is acetylene. As the data sheet indicates, acetylene is unstable and shock sensitive while in the liquid state. This means we must secure all acetylene cylinders in the upright position so they cannot be dropped. Hazard symbols are one of the most important WHMIS communication tools. Be sure to recognize the symbol, read the label and the MSDS, and implement appropriate control measures before it's too late. Other information that will be on the supplier's label include the product name, the risk phrase associated with the hazard symbol, precautionary measures recommended by the manufacturer such as proper personal protective equipment or proper ventilation. Emergency first aid is also included on the label, the manufacturer's contact information, and lastly, a reference to read the material safety data sheet for more detailed information about the hazardous material. A workplace label is the second type of label and is commonly required when a worker must decant a product into another container that does not contain the proper product information. The 4 pieces of information that must be on a workplace label include the product identifier, the risk phrase, usually associated with the hazard symbol, any precautionary measures given by the manufacturer, and lastly, the reference to read the material safety data sheet. Workplace labels have been made easy through pre-printed stickers. You just check off a few boxes, stick the label on the new container, and you're done. In this section, we took a look at the information contained on both supplier and workplace labels. and we also reviewed WHMIS hazard symbols.